Good day to everyone, and another happy Wednesday. It's a hot, bright day today. You know, we've had a series of hot, bright days, and on that account, it was suggested to me not to light our fireplace. And you know, it seems like a home without a heart not to have a fire roaring here in our. But I don't know. We'll see how we get by with it. I for one think that we need a fire. You know, it just adds visual interest and it helps warm the cockles of my ice cold heart to have a fire roaring here. But anyway, we'll try to get by with it. We'll try. Maybe the sunshine of your anthropology will just kind of come over here and fill me with what I need. What do you think?
I'll try.
You'll try? Okay. Well, today I have with me Linda Hughes, the lovely Linda Hughes of our parish. And I think Linda's going to talk to us today about our Racial Justice Committee and matters pertaining to its work. Isn't that right, Linda?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, come on in here. Let's hear what you have on your mind.
Well, I'm pleased to be here representing my co-chair, Peg Eckert, and 38 members of the Racial Justice Committee.
Push hard on that left door, Sue. It'll open.
And we...
Just push hard on it. There you go. Sorry, Linda.
That's okay. So the Racial Justice Committee formed 2 years ago and started with an idea and a desire to do something, and has grown in membership and in initiatives and in momentum and interest. We continue to meet monthly on Zoom on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. We're always open to new members. You can email the Viz RJC email or speak with anyone on the committee. We also are committed to having bulletin posts each week to let the community know what's going on in our larger Kansas City community and what's going on in our committee. Really through it all, Monsignor, we've used the bishop's letter, Open Wide Our Hearts, as a guide, and if I could just read one piece from that. We are called as Catholics to fight the evil of racism by educating ourselves, reflecting on our personal thoughts and actions, listening to the experiences of those who have been affected by racism, and by developing and supporting programs that help repair the damages caused by racial discrimination. So we have a few things that are ongoing and a few new things this summer. Of course, Nancy and Matt came and spoke about the Cristo Rey Fund, and we're continuing to getting contributions to that fund, which is wonderful.
We're really close to meeting our goal for our next school year.
Awesome, thank you. That's wonderful, Megan. We also continue to have study sessions, the Just Faith series, and we started one on Monday night. This one is a new one called Changing Systems and Structures. So kind of taking the foundation that many people experienced in the first Just Faith series and kind of extending that and learning more. We have a youth group, Youth for Change, that I co-sponsor with Ramonda Dokes from St. Monica. It's open to any student, 6th grade through high school. And our goal is just to bring students together from across Kansas City, kind of bridge some historic divides in our city and bring teens together to do service together. And we volunteered at the Blue Tea Tailgate last week at One City Cafe. We're gonna do some school supply sorting next month. We'll go to St. Monica in August and kind of do some cool activities and make something in association with St. Monica's Feast Day in August. So stay tuned to the bulletin for those things. We also have Janie Palmer from our committee is hosting a discussion of the book The Other Westmore, and that's next Tuesday night. And there'll be information, I think, in the email of how to contact Janie to participate in that. So those are a few things. Probably one of the biggest things that we want you to be aware of that's coming up is next Thursday night, June 23rd at 6:30, right here in Ty Hall. We'll have another opportunity to continue our conversation about racism in our faith. Many of you attended our last session in March at St. Monica Parish, and we're committed to doing this sort of conversation every 90 days. So again in September, again in December, we're going to keep the rotation and the conversation going. And that is something that I think gives us an opportunity to step out of our usual routines and environments and truly listen to people whose experiences differ from our own, and a recognition that in our country today we're facing a rise of white supremacy. We're seeing a rise of violence against people of color, and as Catholics, as people called to lead with love and compassion, we can't do nothing.
All right. Twice this week, I guess, maybe not. I've been a part of, kind of a, subgroup, I guess you'd say, of Racial Justice Committee members and also people from St. Monica Parish. What's the official name of that group? Is that like the steering committee or?
That is actually an outgrowth of, I think, a lot of good initiatives that have been happening in tandem. We have members from our outreach committee, from the Racial Justice Committee that are part of that. And kind of as an outgrowth of Mr. Alvin Brooks coming to Visitation as part of our faith formation book last year, reading his book, Binding Us Together, we've continued these conversations and formed this relationship. Teresa Albright is kind of our pastoral leader on that, and we overlap in a lot of lovely ways. And I think the key is that we're all working toward positive change. And as Mr. Brooks would tell us, as he said in his memoir, white folk don't have a conscience unless black folk are there with them. And if our everyday lives and work environments don't afford us the opportunity to be in conversation with people that don't look like us, then we invite these conversations. And so we invite you to come again. We did meet yesterday, we met last week, and I think this group, this subgroup really is working to continue the momentum that we've started with the conversations in the fall. And inviting more people, if you came in March, come again, sit with new people, have a new conversation, invite a neighbor, invite a friend.
White people don't have a conscience unless black people are with them, go with them.
It was a quote from his mother when he was a teenager. He said in his memoir, his mother had said that.
Yeah. One thing one learns when you begin to wade through this matter is how easily offended people can be, white and black. And it's really important, I think, for us to do two things. We got to try not to offend each other. That takes work. And we also have to eventually, really kind of say what's on our mind. Because if we don't, we'll never grow. We'll never learn. Yeah. We just kind of politely pass ignorance around the room. And so in my meetings with this subgroup that I talked about, I've tried to do that. And it has been a learning experience for me. I've lived around black people much earlier in my life, even really kind of lived in a black community. And at a time, once upon a time, even worked in a place where I think I was the only white guy there. There might have been one other one, and everybody else was black. So I think comparatively anyway, I have more experience with being around African American people than I'd say most folks here, probably. But it's still been a real learning experience for me. I think I have been impressed with how acutely aware racism is in the life of many African American people. And I mean, I'm sure they have good reason to feel that way. I'm not questioning their sensibilities. But because I live almost all of my time in such a white community, you know, apart from so much of their experience, I have been impressed with how acute that issue is for many African American people. And that's good. You know, it's good for me to be exposed to that. I don't know, there's probably more I could say, more I could ask about, but I guess I won't. Anyway, in my estimation, and I think Emmett Pearson shares this opinion too in my brief conversations with him, I think maybe the most we can hope from our Racial Justice Committee efforts is some kind of durable and friendly relationship between people of different races. You know, we're not going to affect any big systemic change. We're not going to fix the problems in any white family or any black family. We're not going to reduce the drug abuse that's such a huge contributor to problems in our communities. We're not going to reduce crime. But if we can reach out to each other and find some lasting connections, I think that's a good thing. What do you think?
Well, I would say the connections are the beginning of a greater change.
Yeah.
I think that through our connections with one another, in a deeper sense, we have an understanding of other people's experiences. Mm-hmm. And then that changes the fabric of our family, the conversations that we have at dinner, the activities that we decide to involve ourselves in, the things that we decide to do on a weekend. And then that opens up another opportunity to meet new people and find out new experiences. And I continue to hope and pray for a deep change. I think the violence that's rearing up now is frightening, and I can look at it from a outsider view to say that's so unfortunate, but I don't live that fear. I'm not afraid to send my kids out in their car driving around for fear that they're going to be stopped because of the color of their skin. Still today, still in Kansas City, I don't have to worry about those things. So I think that, to Emmett's point, our friendships and our conversations hopefully deepen our empathy for the experiences of others and help us recognize that we can't just be complacent and accept that this is the way things are. In my view, my kids get tired of me telling them that they're going to have to fix so many of these problems, but at least their mindsets are being formed in a way to recognize that we should care for one another, regardless of skin color and regardless of economic status or background. And you tell us that each week in various ways.
Do I?
You do.
Well,
I think you do. I think you do.
Well, I hope I do too, but what I really hope I do is just parrot what Jesus tells us.
Well, there you go. Well, let's all do that.
Yeah, let's all do that. That's what I really want to do. All right, well, good. Anyway, I think this is a very worthy thing for a Catholic parish to be doing, and it's certainly not a cut and dried thing. And there's a a nebulous quality to it. Going forward, where's this going to lead us? There's a fair amount of risk involved in it. Because it is so easy, as I said earlier, to offend people. And we don't want to do that. We're trying to build bridges, not knock them down. But I think it's worthy work. Very worthy. Well, before we started here, you mentioned something about Father Leonard Guicheroux, and do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So in our interactions with our friends at St. Monica, we've come to learn that Father Leonard's personal space in the rectory at Our Lady of Sorrows was vandalized in a very directed and personal way. And we gathered yesterday as a group to pray with Father Leonard, to share our support for him and to help him recognize that we as a community support him, and regardless of the outcome of a police investigation, and we're not police officers, it feels frightening that one of the few Black Catholic priests in our diocese was targeted in such a personal and really horrific way. And we see another Black Catholic parish closing. We see 2 Catholic parishes being asked to consolidate when one party or one community doesn't seem to want to consolidate with another. And I think the work of seeing that and calling it out for what it is, and seeing the racism that's threaded into our practices, whether or not we call it that or not, is important for us to do. And so I think we can continue to support Father Leonard as he continues on. His birthday's this week, so a birthday card would be a great thing. Could be sent to St. Monica, could be sent here, and hopefully this committee and the work of people on this committee can help continue to shine a light on things that are happening that might not get attention or the concern of the wider diocese. But I feel compelled to pray for Father Leonard and to fight for a recognition of what's happened, that we all feel that pain with him to the extent we can.
Yeah, Father Leonard's comparatively new priest, maybe 5 years ordained, something like that. And he's being asked to do a very difficult thing. Our Lady of Sorrows and St. Monica are not combining, but they're being kind of yoked together under one pastor. And they'll share many aspects of administration. They'll continue to have an independent parish life, at least for now. And I hope the 2 communities both have, enough vitality to sustain that, but of course, time will tell. But Father Leonard's been saddled with the responsibility of trying to draw those communities into some kind of administrative and, we hope, pastoral relationship. And there'll be challenges to that. There really will be. So, okay. Well, Linda, thank you for coming and visiting with us. We certainly live in interesting times. Anything else, producer, you think I need to say? Well, let me tell the folks, every year the diocese has this thing they call the Diocesan Clergy Retreat. Priests in the diocese are obligated to go on this thing up to Conception Abbey. Last year I missed it. I don't remember why, but I did. So this year I got to go. So I'll be going Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. If you're looking for me, you won't find me. How about that? And then the following week, I'll be in Tennessee visiting my siblings and aunt and uncle. So anyway, I may not see you here on the old video visitation for a little bit, right?
Right. May have somebody here in your stead.
Oh, good. Somebody here in my stead. Wonderful. All right, well, next time I'm back with you, we're going to light that fire back up.
Just in time for the 4th of July.
You certainly need a fire on the 4th of July. How will you get your sparklers going? All right. Thanks, everybody, for being with us today. Until next time, goodbye and God bless.